Hey everybody, I'm Greg Jones with Engine Builder, and we are back at the 2021 PRI show. Feels good to be here in Indy. As you can tell, we are at the PennGrade 1 booth today, and I am joined over here by Nitro Joe Morrison. Joe, thanks for having us and
great to be here.
Being here with us.
Man, I'll tell you, it's great to be back at PRI in person after seemed like
Hey everybody, I'm Greg Jones with Engine Builder, and we are back at the 2021 PRI show. Feels good to be here in Indy. As you can tell, we are at the PennGrade 1 booth today, and I am joined over here by Nitro Joe Morrison. Joe, thanks for having us and
great to be here.
Being here with us.
Man, I'll tell you, it's great to be back at PRI in person after seemed like way longer than 2-year hiatus. But
yeah, right?
Yeah, here we are 2 years later, right?
Felt like a decade, didn't it?
My
I'm
God.
sure all you guys can relate. But yeah, like Joe said, it's great to be back. And Joe's here for a very specific reason, because we want to talk a little bit about PennGrade 1 and what Joe's team, drag racing team does, Leverage Racing. You guys have had a relationship with PennGrade for a little while. And first of all, we want to start off with a little bit about the season. You know, how did your season go this year?
I'll tell you, honestly, as a racer, you always want more, right? I mean, so that said, I think, number one, we qualified for every race we went to.
Yeah.
And some of the biggest names in racing did not. We did only do 9 races this year, but as a part-time Top Fuel team, it was pretty aggressive. And the fact that we only did 9 races and still finished 13th in points. So really, I'm pleased with where we went. Again, as a race team, you're always looking at how can you improve.
Sure.
So we made big steps forward from 2020. My debut year, we only did 4 events in 2020.
Okay, yeah, so you doubled it then.
So more than doubled. And then we're looking at 10 to 12 races for 2021. We've been upgrading some parts and pieces, so the performance of the car is going to step up.
Yeah.
We have crew chief Lance Larson started working with us in August of 2021 here, and he's back with us for 2022, which is really exciting. I mean, Lance has been tuning nitro cars longer than I've been alive. So, that's
he's a good guy to have in the corner.
He's a great guy to have in our corner, and as far as the technical aspect of things and where I see us going, I mean, the changes we're making, it's really exciting. So, 2021 was a good year, as a racer. It's like you always think, well, there was a round win there for the taking, there was a round win here for the taking, but, looking back, we learned a lot, we made a lot of improvements.
Yeah. Well, Joe, you mentioned improvements, you mentioned performance, you mentioned, growth, and obviously a lot of that comes with partners that you guys have on the racing team, and we mentioned PennGrade 1 has been a partner with Leverage Racing for a little while.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about how that relationship started and when, and what specifically you guys use in the car?
So the Leverage team has used PennGrade even before I was driving with them.
Okay.
They had used several different oils, but they really loved the PennGrade oil. And I had been using it in my Nostalgia car. So I drove a Nostalgia alcohol altered in a Nostalgia club in northern, kind of the mid-Atlantic, southern New England area.
Okay.
And we had a lot of success and a lot of reliability when you're running with a Nostalgia club where, it's more or less fast bracket racing, right? 7-second car, 1,400 horsepower. And we won a championship in 2011 and runner-up for championship in 2012. I had to skip 2 races in 2012. If we had shown up at one more race, we would have repeated as champions.
Oh, wow.
2011 went to 14 races and won 7. And I credit a lot of that to the fact of the way that I can count on the PennGrade 1 oil.
Yeah.
So we were running 2050, and then depending on what else we were doing, we might run just a straight 50 weight in that engine. So when I started driving for Leverage, it was a no-brainer. For me, there's no other oil I'd rather use because I know, because of the way it's made, because of how it performs, it stands up really well to alcohol dilution, and now even more punishing is the nitromethane. So instead of 1,400 horsepower, we're 11,000 horsepower. The amount of punishment that the bearings take and the other engine components, it's critical to have proper lubrication. For me, it's been, so we run the Nitro 70. We don't put any other additives in it. We literally pour the Nitro 70 right into that engine, 5 gallons a run, and it stands up and is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and we definitely want to touch more on the fuel and the oil relationship in a second, but let's talk about the oil specifically. There's a lot of stuff that comes with the unique base cut of PennGrade 1 that really helps an engine like yours perform to its maximum potential.
Absolutely.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what specific components it really helps with and what those elements are that make PennGrade 1
sure, absolutely.
Successful for you guys?
Absolutely. And again, for engine builders out there, right? I mean, the last thing you want is to have an inferior product create the appearance of an engine failure that would come back then to the builder, right? So for the folks that are paying attention, why it works so well, the unique base cut that comes out of that well in Bradford County, Pennsylvania, is there's high levels of phosphorus and zinc.
Yeah.
And why that's important, as most folks know, that is why the oil sticks so well to those components. So for us, when the nitromethane and the huge volume of fuel, I mean, we go through, from when we start the car, do the burnout, back up and make the run, we go through almost 16 gallons of fuel.
Wow.
A lot of that is washing past the piston rings and going into the crankcase. So with us, I mean, if you have nitro washing that oil off, you have no bearing protection whatsoever.
Right.
And the punishment that these components take is just unreal.
Yeah.
So the fact that because of that phosphorus and zinc content, the oil clings to those components, so we're not worried about main bearings. We're not worried about rod bearings going away. And listen, you spin a rod bearing, you've got you've got not only that rod, but the sister rod exiting stage right and stage left. Right. All of a sudden,
you got some problems.
And we've got 75 minutes to turn the car around between rounds. And the last thing you want to do is have to do engine swaps in the middle of rounds. We want to be able to pull the pistons out, check the rods, put a new rack in, and oftentimes, I mean, we've used the same bearings over again because we mic them, they're good. And to be able to actually reuse our rod bearings, we've taken a look at main bearings. The crank doesn't come out, so we'll pull a main down and look at it, pop it right back in, and we don't even have to swap bearings. So, it's. Clearly I'm a believer.
And would you say that's a scenario that's more common than not in terms of being able to reuse a bearing?
More often than not, it's uncommon.
Okay.
Oftentimes they're swapping bearings out regardless.
It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, and the fact that we get more life out of our components, it helps drive our cost per run down a little bit. And when these cars are so expensive to run, and being a part-time team, a lower funded team, it's so important. Reliability for us and repeatability and being able to get the most life out of our parts is so critical to us being able to run more races.
Right.
If we were blowing stuff up all the time, instead of 9 races last year, we probably would have done 5 or 6.
Right.
But the point is, because we're not hurting parts, we're able to do more. And again, I credit that to the absolutely incredible product they have. So, again, I don't want to sound overzealous, but it's simply, it's just the truth. It's just
I mean, you said it, and I think anyone that's got a higher horsepower performance engine, and people that might even not, could still benefit from what PennGrade 1 can offer.
Absolutely.
To the engine. So, you don't have to be a professional drag racer to appreciate what PennGrade 1 can do for your motor. So, if you guys have questions, obviously PennGrade 1 is a great resource. We're here at PRI, and Ken and Nick are 2 PennGrade 1 reps that know their stuff. If you have questions, reach out to those guys. Joe, we really appreciate you joining us today here in the booth.
Absolutely.
And,
glad to be here.
Telling us a little bit about your race team and what's going on and how you guys utilize PennGrade 1. So we appreciate it.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
Guys, again, I'm Greg Jones for Engine Builder, and we appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.